back, Beyonders, to Tabletop and Beyond. I am your host. I'm here with co-host Dan, and we have a special guest with us today, Mr. Michael O'Brien from Chaosium. Michael, we are so happy to have you here. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me on.
So what our listeners don't know is that this is the second time we've tried to record this. The first time, I think we stress tested our software's ability to record from around the world, and unfortunately, it didn't go as well as we had planned. But we were fortunate that Michael O'Brien is making his annual, I'm assuming it's annual pilgrimage to Indianapolis to Gen Con, and we caught him while he is in the United States. So we're very fortunate to have you here on our side of the world to talk about Graveyards of Arkham and all of that. So yeah, we're very excited to have you here.
Great. Yeah. The last time we tried this, I was on the other side of the Pacific. Exactly. I was on the remote Philippines island of Palawan, and we really tested their internet capacity to the limit, I'm afraid. But I'm in LA this time, so hopefully it's going to work just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, before we get to talking about Graveyards of Arkham, we're really excited about that because it's just launched in Kickstarter about a week ago. And we are very excited to get into what this means, especially as Bookshops of Arkham was so successful. So, excuse me. So let's get into Geek Week. Dan, why don't you kick us off?
I've been adding quite a bit to my Geek Week since we last met. I'm just going to hit a couple of tip-top points, though. I was able to travel to Las Vegas to celebrate a major milestone birthday with a member of my family, my brother, who has been on the podcast before. And one of the events of several was we played Shadows of Brimstone by Flying Frog Inc. Games. This is a Western meets monsters, kind of Cthulhu-y. It's a dungeon crawler with a randomization element. So the dungeons are not the same every time. It's not like you're flipping to chapter 3 and putting that dungeon. It has some randomization elements for bad guys and level of difficulty, and all of the archetypes for this particular version of the game are all standard. You got your gambler and your outlaw and your rancher, and it's a fantastic game, and the minis are a lot of fun. They're well done, and they're great to paint. Sometimes aliens show up to fight you as well. So if you're looking for a different kind of dungeon crawler and you want to get out of fantasy, but you still want to have some edge to it, Shadows of Brimstone has a lot of ways to get into it. A lot of their expansions now are just basically a standalone game that can also act as an expansion to an older core game. So we had a great time. We played with very old friends. This is the same gaming group we'd been hanging out since high school, and it was fantastic to get the old gang back together. I did also play a round of Marvel United by Simon. Just always a fun game. We played with my friend, my buddy, and I. We had a couple of 10-year-olds and a 7-year-old, and that's a really fun game to get into the superhero fun without it becoming so oppressive and ticky-tacky. And it's great to plow through kind of a game that's really crunchy for the 7 and 11-year-olds and just fun enough for us old guys to really enjoy it. And then it's over real fast, which I also like about that game. It doesn't drag itself on into the evening, but 2 thumbs up for Marvel United, and had a good time with that. So that was my Geek Week.
Awesome. Yeah, so that Shadows of Brimstone, is it like Descent, kind of?
Yeah, with randomized maps and randomized things that you collect along the way, and sometimes they're randomized missions too. It just depends. So it's never really the same twice, which is one of the values of that design concept. I know if you were playing, I don't know, Gloomhaven, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be it wouldn't be as random as maybe Shadows of Brimstone. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of products. They've got alien products and sword and sorcery stuff. Flying Frog has just a really robust catalog of stuff that can suit your fancy. But we like the cowboy style. It was great.
Fantastic. All right, Michael, you had given us your Geek Week once before, but we're going to ask for it again. How was your Geek Week?
Well, I mean, I'm having the geekiest week you can have because I'm on my way to Gen Con.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't do more geekier than that. And I had a really great time. I live in Australia. I live in Melbourne, Australia. And there are various ways you can get across the Pacific. But this time I went via Manila in the Philippines. And we actually had a fan event there for tabletop role-playing gamers. And we ran a whole lot of Chaosium games. So it was in a local cafe. There was probably about 50 attendees.
Wow.
I did with my colleague Andrew, who's our convention coordinator for Australia, Pacific, New Zealand area. We did 2 talks. We did one talk called Done with the Dungeon. Actually, that's got a question mark on the end of it. Done with the Dungeon? What can you play next? Because, a lot of people have played in Philippines have played 5e or D&D, and they're looking to see what else they can play. And then the next talk we did was The Cool of Cthulhu, why Cthulhu is cool.
Awesome.
And then after that, we had 2 2-hour sessions of games, and we played RuneQuest, Call of Cthulhu, and Pendragon and Rivers of London, which are all published by Chaosium. And then after that, the organisers took Andrew and I out to a really cool bar where we tried Filipino delicacies.
Now, are these delicacies where, like to maybe, the average white person, like they're not very good at all, but like to the Filipino, they're delicious?
Well, I thought they were delicious.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Maybe the problem was in the translation, even though they do speak very good English there. But a couple of times, Andrew and I went out to dinner, and we thought we'd just like to order a nice vegetable dish to go with our other things. They serve a lot of pork there.
Yeah.
And both times we ordered a vegetarian dish, I had to say to Andrew, "What are those bits on the vegetarian dish?" And it was pork, and on the other one it was beef. So maybe there was a problem with translation. I don't know, but. No, we really enjoyed the food there, and the people there are wonderful. It was a fantastic event. And, I was very excited because one of the organisers who came to pick us up also pointed out that he has won 2 Emmy Awards. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
That's serious business. That's a real, that's double gamer cred for permanence. That's fantastic.
So that was a great event. And I don't know, maybe next time we'll go to Gen Con via somewhere else. We're going to do this again.
That's right. That's right. Well, if you ever do Gen Con via Washington D.C. near where we're at, like we'll be the first on the list.
Okay. Well, we can work. So there's various ways you can get to Gen Con.
That's right.
Exactly. The long way or the short way.
I think in Australia it's about 6 1/2 dozen to the other to get to Washington D.C. Just pointing that out.
And I have done both ways.
Okay.
If I go via the other way, I go via Abu Dhabi in the Middle East, where I actually lived for 10 years. Fantastic. And actually, last year before Gen Con, I went and did a similar event in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, come to think of it. So there you go.
You're a planetary gamer, Michael.
That's right.
The planet is your oyster. You're one of the elder gods of gaming. That's what it is. There you go.
Well, Chaosium, the company that I'm one of the part owners of, we say the sun never rises on Chaosium because there's always somebody somewhere around the world in our company who's plugging away on their computer in the dark.
That's great.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want the sun to rise on any of Chaosium. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So we have people in the United States, obviously, where the company started, and in Australia, and in Germany, and Spain, and Poland, and a few other places, and the United Kingdom, and a few other places besides.
Well, I want to actually pull the thread on one of the things that you said, which is your convention talk of done with the dungeon, right? With the question mark. There was the whole OGL, 5e OGL issue that kind of came out with Wizards and Hasbro and all that. And I mean, that's been talked about to death. But one of the things that I noticed, because we follow you on Twitter and on other social media, stuff like that. It seems like you guys were having a hard time keeping products on the shelf during that time. The starter sets were like flying like hotcakes, is what we say here in the United States, right? They're flying off the shelves like hotcakes, and I think that's such a great opportunity because we here at Tabletop and Beyond, we love trying all sorts of systems, and we enjoy the percentile die systems. We enjoy D6s, we enjoy D20s. Like, we play a lot of them, and all of them have their pluses and minuses. But when we had Mike Mason on the show about a year ago, actually, I told him, I said, you guys got to be losing money on your starter sets because they're such an amazing value, and they come for like such a cheap price. Like, I can't think of a better way to get in gaming, and I think people took advantage of it during that whole OGL thing.
Yeah, our starter sets are really good value. They're like $29.99, I think. We've just released the Pendragon starter set that just came out earlier this year, and it's another great value product. And I guess we hope that you buy this and you try out the game and you really like it, and then maybe you'll buy. There you go. That's it.
There's Pendragon starter set right here.
Super.
Yeah. I still have to crack it open, but I have it.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm excited about it.
My colleague Rick, who is the president of our company, is a collector extraordinaire, and he has a number of things at home which are mint in the shrink, which he he's reluctant to open. Whereas last year, my wife is the board games editor for Chaosium, and we're going to be bringing out a game called Dragon Pass, which Greg Stafford first published when the company was founded in 1975. It's going to be the 50th anniversary of that game in 2025. So we're going to do a new edition of it.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
She needed to do some play testing and things because we're going to essentially bring out the 1982 version, which was kind of all the corrected one from the 75 one. It looks really cool, but she wanted to just try it all out and make sure it was all good and everything. So I managed to buy a mint in the shrink copy of it from 1982, totally unpunched.
Oh my goodness!
Wow!
And she punched it all because she was doing play testing with it, and I made sure, because I knew this would really create some interest. I shared photographs of that online, and all these people going, "No!"
Yeah. That's too funny.
Yeah.
Well, I was happy to see Chaosium's success as, like, people were, I mean, I don't ever want to disparage gaming companies because everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses, but I do feel like a lot of people get into the hobby through, D&D or 5e or something like that, because it's probably the most popular RPG right now, in terms of, that's in the media and all that stuff. And so you got a lot of newcomers that are coming in there, but man, just having them wake up a little bit and be like, oh my goodness, there's other systems out there that are fantastic, and I think great for other reasons. One of the things that I did a couple of weeks ago, I talked about this on the podcast, is I was changing companies, and my farewell gift to my company that it only has about 8 people in the company, and I think about 6 of them were able to stick around for a party. My farewell gift to them was I ran a session of Call of Cthulhu for them.
Oh,
right. I said, and I would say 6 or 4 out of the 6 had never played an RPG before, ever.
Wow.
And I ran the Dead Man Stomp, which is great from the starter set. It's such a great set. I mean, I've run that thing probably 3 or 4 times now, but for brand new players, it's such an amazing adventure.
Oh, and it packs a punch.
Yeah, and they had so much fun with it that they commented afterwards, and they said, we thought we were going to run D&D, because I told them I was kind of going back and forth between a D&D game just to kind of give them a D&D game, and I decided on Cthulhu just because I think it's the adventure that I had there was just more fun, and they said that they were able to get into it more because it was 1920s and they were able to relate to that world rather than a Forgotten Realm setting or
Yeah,
something
in the
where,
real
you know,
world, so that
yeah,
makes it easier.
exactly. And
Hey,
and so there it was easy for them to figure out what was weird and
Mhm.
what was not normal versus being, you know, seeing a magic giant walking past them, and that's supposed to be normal in D&D, right? So,
Sure.
um,
Hey,
so it's
I
great.
can tell you something interesting about Dead Man Stomp.
Oh yeah,
So that was written by my very good friend Mark Morrison, who is another
okay,
Australian. He's also the author of Horror on the Orient Express,
okay,
which is one of our most famous and iconic campaigns.
yeah,
And he's a big fan of Pendragon. But to get back to Dead Man Stomp, he wrote that in like 1985. I've known Mark since 1985,
yeah.
and I played Dead Man Stomp for the first time earlier this year.
For the first time.
Yep,
Oh, that's too funny.
and
That's too funny.
it really does pack a punch. That's
Oh, so much fun. It's just when you get to the end scene and the graveyard and stuff like that, you know, like we had dudes who'd stole a truck and they were just trying to race to the graveyard, and they're just like roll into this thing like running over headstones. They don't care. They're just trying, you know what I mean? And the scene was just absolutely amazing as, you know, it was unfolding. So
Well,
it's such a well-written adventure.
so another great scenario for newcomers is one
Yeah.
called the Necropolis, which is in our recent collection called Gateways to Terror. That's in an Egyptian tomb, and if you've seen that movie, The Mummy, you just get it straight away. One of the great things about that scenario is the player characters in that are just archetypes. So there's the professor of hieroglyphics, there's the archaeologist, there's the soldier of fortune, and there are 2 spare characters in case you end up having 6 players instead of 4.
Yeah.
And one of them is the foreman, so that's a bit like Sulla, you know, from
Yeah. Indiana Jones.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other one's the plucky kid, and that's got to be Short Round.
Yeah, right.
And I don't tell anybody this when I'm GMing that game.
Yeah.
I'm never going to kill Short Round. Call of Cthulhu is a very deadly game, but I am not killing Short Round.
Yeah, it's bad mojo.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
someone has to live and tell the story into their old age, and we know who
exactly, and
that's right.
That'll be Short Round if I'm running that game.
Well, we love all, like I have loved every Cthulhu product that I have gotten from Chaosium. It's always been high quality, and of course, there's the Miskatonic library of community created adventures.
Yep, Miskatonic repository. Yep.
Miskatonic repository. Yep. Thank you. Miskatonic repository, and like there's a lot of really great stuff. Any award-winning stuff that's in there too. That you know is an amazing thing. So you guys should all check it out at chaosium.com, and Drive-Thru RPG is where you can get a lot of the PDFs for it, especially for the Miskatonic repository.
Yep.
So yeah, check it out there. But I think we've got a little bit of time for some news, Dan, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yes, absolutely. Let's just jump in real quick. Voting has closed, but for those who are interested, the 2023 any nominations have been announced. We did want to mention, because Michael is here, that Chaosium received 4 nominations for Ennies to be announced at Gen Con. Rivers of London, the role-playing game, has been nominated for Best Rules and Product of the Year, which is a big deal. And the Call of Cthulhu Bookshops of Arkham, which we're going to talk about tonight, has been nominated for Best Podcast. And of course, Hosted Hostility, 3 Regency Call of Cthulhu scenarios, Miskatonic Repository has also been nominated for Best Electronic Book. There's a lot of nominations, but because Michael's here tonight, we're putting our thumb on the scale of Chaosium.
Yeah.
No, thumbs up, but we're putting a thumb on the scale.
Thumb on the scale. There, I better do it like that.
We're not
like
thumbs down in Chaosium.
Yeah, thumbs up.
So we wish you guys 4 for 4, and I'm sure for our listeners who may not be familiar with the Ennies or may have not gone to Gen Con, if you go to Ennie-Awards, ENNIE-awards.com, you should be able to find a really great list of fascinating products There's a lot of nominees across a lot of subjects, and I tend to use that nominees list to point my nose in the direction of what cool things are out there to get interested in. So it's a great thing. And if anybody on the podcast is going to Gen Con, they do have an award ceremony in the Crown Plaza Union Station Grand Hall. It is a Grand Hall. We finally went in. We've been going to Gen Con for years. We never made our way over to the Grand Hall, but it really is a good place for an award.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, it's gaming's night of nights. It's like the Academy Awards. Except the dress. I'm afraid the dress code, it doesn't really
right. It doesn't quite live up to the hype.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm sure the red carpet. There's a few less ladies in gowns. Let me just say that. Yeah. Not that there are zero, but maybe one or two less.
Yeah.
Another fun piece of news is CMON signed a deal with Marvel to produce licensed accessories for the Marvel Universe role-playing game, which is coming out. And we know CMON always does a great job. They hold themselves to a really high standard on their sculpts. It's in their name, Cool Mini or Not, CMON. And they're going to be putting out different toolkits for the game's D616 system. So keep a lookout for those. There were multiple announcements regarding the Marvel RPG that had from San Diego Comic-Con just a few weeks ago. So keep an eye out for those products. Those should be interesting and fun and cool.
A D616 system is the worst system you could run.
That's a big die. That's a lot of size.
It's this big. Big as my head.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's essentially a 2D6 system. So yeah. Anyway, nonetheless, that's the news, and I'll hand it back to Justin.
Well, I do want to give the opportunity to Michael here that if there's any Chaosium news that might be coming up in the next week that I don't know, you might want to just give us a preview on.
I can't give you a scoop. I could have given you a scoop if we'd been talking when I was back in the Philippines.
Drats.
But the news is already out, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Great. Yeah, tell us.
We just announced that we are going to be doing a board game version of Horror on the Orient Express.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Yeah. So the Horror on the Orient Express is our classic campaign where you go on the Orient Express and horrible things happen. And we're going to have a board game version of that. It's being designed by two very well-known Polish board game designers.
Okay.
And the idea is we're actually going to be doing the game on Kickstarter next year, and then it will be fulfilled in early 2025 is the plan.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We'll have to look out for that.
Yeah. So the designers are Adam Kwapinski, who is known for doing Nemesis and Frostpunk.
Wow.
And
look at that art right there. That's some pretty sweet art.
It is pretty sweet. And Michael Golubowski, who did Destinies, is also the co-designer of that. And I, at Chaosium Con earlier this year, did actually play like a earlier prototype of the game.
Yeah.
And it is a load of fun. One of the coolest parts of it is it actually has a train with all the carriages on the board.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And I know they've been doing some more work on it since then. And at Gen Con, they're going to be doing demos of it where people can just come and play it. And I know they put that announcement up just after we did this announcement you're showing off here up on the Gen Con website. And I think by the time I posted the news to say, hey, you can play this at Gen Con, I think there was one slot left.
Well, okay. All right. So Michael, you're going to need to get us in.
Yep. Well, we'll just have to add
I feel like we know a guy.
Yeah, you do know a guy. I'll have to add an extra carriage on the end of the train.
There you go.
But so they'll be at Gen Con. Actually, I'm not sure if they're coming, but some other members of the team will be there, and they'll be demoing the game. actually getting feedback, because this is still a prototype.
Yeah.
And the idea is that the game will be out in, as I said, in 2025. That's probably been our biggest announcement this year.
Yeah.
That's
because
great.
we sort of cut across not just tabletop RPGs, but also board games here. So there's a really good nexus of the two. And we're very excited about it, particularly as we have such talented designers involved in creating the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Nemesis is a fantastic game. I've played that multiple times actually, and I haven't played Frostpunk, but it's like on my top 10 list of games I need to play like soon, just because I've heard a lot of good things about it. And Destinies is on there too. So I love that it's a cooperative game on a Doom train. Like I think it's going to be a winner there. Like it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Chaosium created a game a long time ago called Arkham Horror, which I'm sure you've heard of.
Yes. Yeah, we played that multiple times.
Yeah. So we're hoping
we're
hoping this will be an Arkham Horror type experience.
Okay. Oh, great.
And as big and lasting a game. So Arkham Horror is no longer published by Chaosium.
Yeah, it's Fantasy Flight now, isn't it?
Yeah. So Chaosium sold that to Fantasy Flight some time ago, but it still has the connection back to Call of Cthulhu, and we still work with Fantasy Flight on how that game goes. Awesome.
Very good. Very good. Well, we, like I said, we love all things Chaosium. We played RuneQuest not too long ago for the very first time and
Cool.
had a great time. And like I said, we've got Pendragon here that I need to break out with everybody. And of course, we've done a lot of Cthulhu. And but
have you ever played Pendragon before?
I have never played Pendragon before, so I'm really excited about it.
What it has in it, just like our RuneQuest starter set and our Call of Cthulhu starter set, is it has a solo scenario at the start, which actually teaches you the rules and sort of introduces you to the setting as you do the solo scenario. And that just is a really good way to learn about the game. It's better than trying to just read the rule book.
Oh, 100%. I think it's the best. I think it's what sets Chaosium apart as one of the best RPG providers out there, is the solo quests in their starter. I mean, it's chef's kiss. Like they're like amazing, right? I learned to play RuneQuest from that solo campaign, and then was able to successfully run the scenario that we had, because RuneQuest is a little crunchy, right? You've got, the way that you track hits.
Yeah.
I know, right? I mean, hilariously, I think it was our very first encounter that we had. One of our guys swung and had an epic fail on his swing, and the dude had an epic parry as well, and it just completely snapped his sword in two, right? Like, boom, very first swing of the very first encounter, and everybody's like, "Oh, this isn't D&D, guys." Like,
no, and I think one of the coolest things about RuneQuest is combat is deadly, and you got to take it seriously. So that means it's a game where you don't necessarily solve all your problems with combat. There are other ways to do it. And also the great thing about combat is that, it's not RuneQuest if someone doesn't lose a leg at some.
Right, exactly, 100%. But my point is that I had never played a RuneQuest game before. I didn't know anything about it, but going through that solo absolutely prepared me for it. So I'm really looking forward to pulling out that Pendragon solo campaign and playing that as I learn the rules. Yeah, it's super good. I highly recommend it to everybody. We had the author of Zweihander on here, and he Daniel Fox, and I told him, I said, listen, if you ever do an update to your Zweihander starter set, you need to take a page from Chaosium and do a solo campaign in there, because they're just so valuable. And the way that you go through of like, okay, like roll for this stat, roll for that stat. This is what this does. You know what I mean? Like, it's just teaches you the games you played. It's amazing. So
It's learning by doing.
Yeah, which is the best way, so especially with an RPG. But yeah, like like I said, we love all things Chaosium, and one of the things that came out earlier this year was the Bookshops of Arkham, and it was so successful that you guys have decided to start a new Kickstarter for I'm gonna say it's a sequel, but it's like an anthology sequel, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that it's not based on the same characters. It's takes place obviously in the same universe, and it's just kind of a different story with all new characters. But we actually have your Kickstarter video primed up, and so I'm going to play this because I think it's a great point to start us talking about.
Narrated by Mark Meir, our keeper. Yep.
Yeah, and our forever Commander Shepard, right?
That's him.
So
that's the man.
I just finished Mass Effect 1 again. I just replayed it and finished it like last week. So I have his voice in my head without the show. So let it roll.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to insert my 2 cents.
Yeah. Name dropping Commander Shepard.
Yeah, we like Mark a lot.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Arkham, Massachusetts. A sleepy town nestled on the banks of the Miskatonic River. To the untrained eye, just another town in New England. But to those who know better, Arkham is witch-cursed and legend-haunted. The secrets that lie behind closed doors are only uncovered by the most brave investigators, or foolhardy everyday folk who find themselves where they do not belong. I'm Mark Meir, and this is Graveyards of Arkham, the next in the anthology series of Chaosium's blockbuster Call of Cthulhu actual play. Graveyards of Arkham will feature me returning as your keeper of arcane lore. But as we know, a keeper is nothing without their players, and we have more than a few exciting announcements to make in the coming weeks. With your help, we can bring Graveyards of Arkham to life as a 6-episode series, streaming on Chaosium's Twitch channel and on YouTube, where it will live on until even death may die. When you support this project, not only are you helping fund the production costs of an epic blockbuster actual play, but you'll also receive a care package of Call of Cthulhu role-playing rewards that are sure to help you and your friends fight back the darkness. No matter what your skill or experience level, there is a pledge that is tailor-made for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And thank you for your ongoing fight against the unknown. And remember, wherever you are, do your best to sleep soundly.
Okay. Ooh, exciting.
Yep.
So we have Graveyards of Arkham coming out. Walk us through what you so you're an executive producer on this right now. Bookshops of Arkham came out. It did pretty well. I think it did exceptionally well. But what's driving the next season of the Graveyards of Arkham, basically?
Well, so what happened is with Roll20 last year, we released a series. It was actually it's a 4.5-part series, which I'll talk about in a sec, but called Bookshops of Arkham. That was a critical and popular success. So many people watched it and said, this is the best actual play I've ever watched. This is the best Call of Cthulhu actual play. This is the best of any TTRPG I've ever watched. We got so many comments like that. It made us think.
And I'll second that. Like I said, I think before, I just finished it recently, and I was just blown away. I normally don't like actual play podcasts, just because I feel like they're a little cheesy. Sometimes they're a little contrived. They're a little forced, because people are sort of doing it in front of the camera. but this was so good. And there were times when I'm just like riveted. I couldn't pull myself away from it, and there's other great actual play ones out there that we won't really name, but I think this one is fantastic. I mean, up there is the best one.
No, it really was fantastic. So that was a production we did with Roll20, and also with a production company called D4. And this was shot over a number of days, and it was shot in Georgia at a haunted house attraction.
Oh man!
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I think that it pushed the envelope of actual play in some interesting directions. One of the things is, I mean, you saw that the setting and the costumes and everything were really, really well done.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think another really interesting feature was often in an actual play, you have the keeper or the GM, and when a non-player character comes on, well, they'll be the non-player character and say what the non-player character says. What was done in Bookshops of Arkham is quite often instead a guest player would come in and sit down and be that non-player character.
There was a point on that show where they went to go meet with a bookbinder, Joseph Norris, and that guy who played that NPC sucked me in so much, because it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just Mark Meir doing the voice of it, right? Like, he was in the moment, and it was compelling, very compelling.
Yeah, and so that's a really fun way to do it if you've got people that you can bring on board to do that, and it does lift things to another interesting level. So Bookshops was such a success, and we spoke to both Mark Meir and also the creators of it, the writers of it, Belinda Cornish and Darren Normandy, who wrote the original scenario. They were very interested in doing a sequel or another part or installment. And so we came up with the concept of Graveyards of Arkham. So we make it it's called an anthological series. So it'll have some of the same cast in it. It's still going to be set in Arkham, but it's going to be a different story. And the returning actors from the first show, Bookshops of Arkham, Lucia Verspril, and Patrick Logan.
They were phenomenal on there.
They all were, and Carlos Luna and Sage Ryan were awesome as well. We would have actually loved to have Carlos and Sage back too, but they had the time of year that we are going to film this in September. They were both unavailable with other work. And Mark Meir is back as the keeper, which is really important because he is a phenomenal keeper. He really is. I encourage anyone watching this who hasn't seen Bookshops of Arkham to have a look.
So I actually have a question about Mark Meir as keeper. Was he a keeper before you guys started filming this, or did you have to do a crash course on how to be because I don't disagree with you. He was a phenomenal keeper. He knew how to keep things going and really, really do well with it. And so I was like, I wonder if he's had experience doing this before because he's really good at it.
Yeah, and he is. He does have experience. And he has experience being the GM for other games as well, including 5e and other things. So, and of course, he comes from a theatre background. So,
sure, yeah.
I think he brings a lot of skills to the table, shall we say?
Yeah.
The other thing he did, and this relates back to Bookshops of Arkham. You noticed before I said it was a 4.5 part series.
Yes.
And that's because there was a very, very serious technical glitch. Which screwed up the recording of one episode.
Oh, no.
And it ended up that all of the audio for that episode was irrevocably lost.
Oh.
Okay, and you can't really get the actors to come in and do pickup of try to voice over 2.5 hours of extempore speaking that isn't scripted.
It sounds like a haunting.
It does. So we thought, what the hell are we going to do here? Because this is a key part of the show.
Yeah.
And what we ended up with, and we thought, okay, this is our Hail Mary here. Belinda, one of the writers, actually wrote a 17-page précis of what happened in that lost episode.
Oh.
And Mark Meir narrated it.
Now, okay, so I noticed when I listened to it, right? Like he was narrating it, but there was other voices for each of the people. He didn't do those voices as well, did he?
He did all the voices. That's just
no, he did not.
He did.
Oh my gosh.
So
wow.
Okay, so that's episode 2.5.
Yeah.
And okay, we're thinking, okay, well, we're probably going to get a lot of criticism. If you look at the comments for that on YouTube, people are saying, this is the best episode. Why don't you do all the episodes like this? Like do the film ones, but also do an audio one as well, so I can listen to it when I'm driving to work or whatever. So well, I think we accidentally invented a whole new other actual play art form.
I think so. It was very good, and I was very confused because I went to episode 3 after episode 2, right? And I'm like, oh, I think I missed some things here. So then I went to the actual playlist and said, oh, there's an episode 2.5, yeah. Right? And I saw that there was a technical difficulty and all that stuff, and it is a shame that we missed that critical scene that happened in there. I mean, that was like a really cool. I mean, it was like one of the pinnacle moments of the whole series, right? When they're working through that
we
problem.
Probably don't want to give away spoilers, but you're right.
But it was a pinnacle moment. It was.
I got to get caught up. La 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 la.
So no, it was a pinnacle moment. But the point is that I thought you guys did a great job of pivoting because having a catastrophic technical glitch like that is it's crazy, and it's unfortunate to find it after everybody's kind of gone home or done their thing, and or whatever, and you're like, oh great, now what are we going to do? And I am flabbergasted, honestly, that Mark Meir did all of those voices because I thought they were different people. I just thought that you brought in like other actors like to kind of fill in some dialogue, right?
He's an amazingly talented man.
Wow.
And so Bookshops, even with that glitch, was a phenomenal success. People loved it, saying we want more. So we thought, how can we do this? Because it is surprisingly expensive to do a show like that. And we thought, well, okay, maybe we could do a Kickstarter and get like the community on board with it because so many people loved the first one. And if we can put in a whole lot of interesting rewards and stuff for people to get on board with it. So we have backer rewards where if you are new to Call of Cthulhu, you get a whole lot of Call of Cthulhu products as part of backing. And if you are a baked-in fan, we've got extra things that have never been seen before. And that includes a map of the city of Arkham. That's on the screen there now. So that's
see if I can get a better one.
And that map includes all the locations in Arkham, including the graveyards. I'll add. And at the bottom of the map, it has advertisements of local businesses, and they were created by our fiendishly inventive friends at the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. So they are just so good at creating realistic-looking props. That's like the printed version of it. And our Kickstarter does include the printed version at various backer levels and also as an add-on. And it includes free postage anywhere in the world in a rolled tube as well.
That's amazing.
So you're talking about the advertisements here at the bottom. So here's some of the 1920s-esque, advertisements.
Yep.
So
they're really quite amusing. And a second reward we have is we're doing a Bookshops of Arkham movie poster. And that's actually being done by an artist called Ossie Heckler, who is, that's the cast photo of Bookshops of Arkham.
Okay, and let me see.
Sorry, I meant to say we're doing a Graveyards of Arkham movie poster.
Let me look for it real quick.
Okay. And that's being done by Ossie Heckler. If you just go to the story section and scroll down, I think it's shown in there. Ossie is still drawing it, so we can't show you what the movie poster is going to look like, but I've shown an example on the story of the cover of a book that he's currently doing for us. If you just scroll down a little bit further.
Is it the Lords of the Middle Sea?
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, that's the cover that Ossie is currently doing for our proto-steampunk game set in a post-apocalyptic North America that has been flooded. And you can see there that's a game that involves dirigibles and oil wells and a nun with a machine gun. Anyway.
And she's having a great time, by the way.
Oh, she is. So that's an example of the awesomeness of what the poster is going to look like. Okay, so he is the man doing our poster.
And that's going to be for the Graveyards of Arkham.
In the Graveyards of Arkham, it'll have the cast on the poster, and it's being done by Ossie, and we're just showing you an example there of how awesome
his art style is. Yeah,
that kind of beautiful, just a few color pulp looks like the covers of those old pulpy magazine comics novels. From that period. That's right.
Or even the 1930s talkies, right? Like the movies.
And then if you scroll a bit further down, the other reward we're doing, so that's the physical map, which we're also doing as well. And then if you just keep going a little bit further, we are selling grave plots in the old Arkham Cemetery. Just
that was this one right here, right?
Yeah, that's the old Arkham Cemetery.
Yep.
And the H.P. Lovecraft's Historical Society, and that's some examples of their...
here we go.
That's some examples of their props that they've created. So the old Arkham Cemetery is in Arkham, and you can actually buy a grave plot and have your own grave headstone and epitaph. And that will be on this old Arkham graveyard map. So that is actually a real graveyard map I've got there. But
so to be clear, you're not actually buying real estate in a real graveyard, correct?
This is all virtual. Yeah.
Virtual.
Totally real.
Somebody's like, that's where I want to get buried. Can I get a coffin to go with it?
Yeah, and you can even get a family mausoleum at particular backer levels.
That's awesome.
They're also going to create a plot certificate so that you can say that you own this plot in the old Arkham graveyard as well. And that will look like an authentic document from the period.
And
I can just see it now when it comes in the mail and my wife's like, when did you buy us a cemetery plot? We haven't even discussed this.
Yeah.
And I said, no need for discussion, baby. The chances of us coming back as a zombie is very high in this graveyard.
This is a life extension strategy. That pledge level, so everyone knows, for the Arkham burial plot, if you can't see it, is $666.
So, that's for one of the
the crypt
plots. That's for the crypt.
Oh,
I think
it's
a lot more. I think it's like $99.
$99. Okay.
Here. Yeah.
I thought it was great that you guys had a $666 pledge level. I thought that.
Well, there was 666 backers that you could be. So
yeah.
That's right.
So anyway, the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society are helping us create that map. And that's part of the reason why I'm in Los Angeles. I'm going to go and see them tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
At their amazing headquarters in Glendale. And we'll be talking a bit more about designing the map. And when I come back, actually, I don't have time now, but when I come back after Gen Con, I'm in LA for another couple of days. And I'll be visiting Good Time Society, who are the production company that are going to be doing this season. and that's
okay.
Becca Scott's company. If you've seen any of Becca's videos, and we just announced we reached the $30,000 stretch goal, which was Becca appearing as one of those guest NPCs. So she is going to come and sit down next to the keeper and play one of the parts.
So before we get into some of the different pledge levels, because I think it was hinted in the video that there's a lot of Cthulhu RPG associated rewards, but I want to talk about the cast a little bit that we're looking at. So I do want to point this out. You guys were funded within like 2 hours of launching.
We funded $10,000 in less than 2 hours, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And we're now like 3 times that, or more than 3 times that. And the campaign's got another, I think it's 10 days to go, or maybe 8 days to go.
Yeah. It's very, very exciting. Okay. So obviously we have Mark Meir, who's here, who's the keeper coming back. But we have, actually, there's a better picture right here. So Patrick Logan, he played Mickey in Bookshops of Arkham and did a great job there. The whole time I'm thinking like he's really good with that kind of mobster enforcer accent. Like he's really good with that. Like it doesn't kind of fade in and out as you would expect it to. Like with subpar actors. Like he's like really good with it.
He by the way has produced this most absolutely amazing fan film for Batman. Oh yeah,
really? Oh, cool.
Oh, it's incredible. He was the director and writer of it. We'll do an update and make sure we have a link behind it because it is just brilliant.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll put the link in this video for.
Okay, it's actually on the Kickstarter page there. It's called Gordon a Batman Fan Film. It came out in February this year. Yeah, amazing stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely put it in here for our fans to check out once, of course, they're done listening to the episode. But so the other returner is Lucia Verspril.
Yep, and she was Judith in the first season.
She played an awesome kind of like sort of out there, a little bit not on this plane.
Very high occult skill, I believe.
Yeah. So she, her first thing is like she's like, I see ghosts. Like, oh, okay, this is how we're starting. Great.
So Lucia is the creator of the Islands of Sina Una, which is a campaign setting for D&D.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and that's all about the pre-colonial mythology and culture of the Philippines. So, of course, she was very excited that I had visited the Philippines.
That is very cool. That's very cool. Tell us a little about Nora Ibrahim and Josephine McAdam.
Okay, so Josephine has actually been on quite a few of our streams already, on the stream of Chaos. She's probably best known in actual play in LA by Night, which is a Vampire the Masquerade actual play show.
Oh, cool.
Where she played the Blood Witch Eva.
Wow.
And but people will have also seen her on the Dungeon Run. She's been on the Glass Cannon. She's been on quite a few different actual play shows. And yeah, we're really excited to have her come to be in Graveyards of Arkham. I think she's going to be amazing in that.
Awesome.
And then, Noura is another person that has been in quite a few of our actual play shows as well. And actually, she was in LA by Night as well, and well known for that. She has also played in the Glass Cannon Network. Have started playing Masks of Nyarlathotep.
Okay.
And so she's one of the cast in that. So that'll be going for a while because they've just played through like the first chapter of it, and that took them several months. So yeah, so we're really excited to have Noura as a cast member as well. So I think we've got a really strong cast to be involved in this. The other great thing is that you'll be able to see Noura and Josephine are playing in a Call of Cthulhu live game we are doing at Gen Con next week.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's marvelous. That's great.
With Mark Meir as the keeper.
No way.
Wow.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
now we're going to have to go fanboy on them. Sorry. I apologize in advance, Nora, Josephine, and Mark. You know, we're going to have to go fanboy, full fanboy.
Yep.
So
we're pretty excited that we've got this amazing cast. We've got the same writers that did the first season. And we're working with the Good Times Society at their studio in Los Angeles. And we've worked with Becca Scott and Jake Michaels, who own and run that studio on quite a few things. So we know it's going to be a great show. It's going to be 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We are very confident we won't have to do an audio-only episode. But if we have to, we will.
That's right.
And, you know, if this is a great success, you know, maybe we'll do a 3rd season.
Awesome.
But we think we've really kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of making a show that people really like watching. And that includes old Call of Cthulhu hands as well as people who know nothing about Call of Cthulhu.
So I wanted to take a moment to talk about the writing of Bookshops of Arkham, and I'm so glad that the writers are coming back. Honestly, like, you watch a lot of media and entertainment today, and you can lay a lot of things that you don't like about certain shows or movies on, you know, poor writing or, you know, tired kind of writing. None of that ever existed in the Bookshops of Arkham. I mean, it felt fresh. It felt like just such an integral story of the Lovecraftian universe. I mean, it was so Lovecraftian, you know. I mean, obviously Cthulhu needs to be Lovecraftian, but it was so Lovecraftian in everything that it did, you know, with the different gods and old gods and, you know, things that were happening. It's just like, it was so great. You know, and to tie it to like something as mundane as like bookshops to kind of the level of adventure that it was taking was so fantastic, because I remember thinking like, Bookshops of Arkham, okay, I guess so. But then as like the story evolves, you're like, oh, Bookshops of Arkham, I get it now, you know, and you know, you're just like super invested in it. So I'm really excited that they're coming back as writers, because it was just, I mean, in terms of a plot, like, it was Hollywood level like plot, like, absolutely.
Oh,
it was
I
so
agree.
good.
Yeah. So Belinda Cornish and Darren Ormandy are the writers of it. And Belinda also comes from a acting and theatre background, and is a working actor and theatre professional. And Darren actually works for Weta Workshop, who you know, does a lot of the special effects for
That's amazing.
Peter Jackson's movies.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, cool.
a lot of other movies.
Yeah.
So Darren's in New Zealand, and Belinda is in Canada.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we hope to have at least Belinda down for when we do the filming of it in Los Angeles, which we're going to do in late September. Is it September or October? I'll have to check the date. But and maybe even Darren, we can get him over from New Zealand. But you know, putting together a show like this is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's different levels that you can do with actual play. If you just get everybody together on Zoom to play a game, that's not going to have anywhere near the cost of sitting people down in costume in a studio and bringing in guest NPCs and things like that. And that's why we've gone to Kickstarter to see if we can help raise the funds to be able to make this show as awesome as we can. So we're really excited that it's already reached its funding level very quickly.
Yeah.
But
let's talk about some of the pledge levels for our listeners out there, because I think that, like we said, there's some really cool bonuses at some, in my opinion, rather cheap levels as well, right? Normally, some of the rewards that you're giving out, you don't see those until like you get to like the $50-$60 range, and you're starting to see these at like the $20-$30 range, right? So as an example, the first one called the Freshman Pledge, it's $29. And you get a couple of things. One, you get a PDF of the Call of Cthulhu starter set, which is amazing. We've already told you that this is worth every penny, right? Yep. Even if it's just a PDF, like it's still amazing. And you got your keeper tips that help you. You got a PDF of the Arkham poster map that you have, and then you get credited in every episode of the show, right? And that's for $29. Yep. This the Call of Cthulhu set in its print form is $29 already. So I mean, you're pretty much getting that value already, and you're back in the show, which is amazing.
You also get the Keeper Tips book, which is our book we released on the 40th anniversary Call of Cthulhu. And that's got collected wisdom about how to run the game from a whole lot of creators. And actually, Becca Scott is one of them. So there you go.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very good.
Wonderful.
And now, you get the Arkham poster map as well.
Yes, exactly. Now, if you already have the starter set and you're looking to branch out, and that's kind of about your funding rate, the Pulp Fiction Pledge is basically the same thing with the Arkham map and the Keeper Tips, but instead of the Call of Cthulhu PDF starter set, you get the Pulp Cthulhu Two-Fisted Action and Adventure Against the Mythos PDF. So this is kind of like superheroes versus, not really superheroes, but more beefed up heroes against Cthulhu, right? So it's the Pulp Cthulhu, which is a lot of fun as well.
And then we have the Cowboys and Tentacles one, where instead of that, you get Down Darker Trails, which is our Call of Cthulhu set in the Old West.
So which I have been dying to play this one. So I'm from Nevada, by the way, and you know the Old West is kind of in my bones. And so
Justin, we're both from Nevada.
That's true. But you're from Las Vegas, and
it's still in Nevada, man.
We're both in Nevada, yeah. So the Old West is there, and I've been just dying to play this game. So, $31 is a great deal to get that in PDF along with the other rewards.
Yeah, and then we have at $32 the Private Investigator backer level, which instead has 3 of our solo adventures instead.
Yeah. Which is so good. Again, like Alone Against the Flame is the solo adventure that is in the starter kit. So you have Alone Against the Dark, Alone Against the Frost, Alone Against the Tide. And all of these, now are these Miskatonic creations, or were these actual Chaosium creations?
No, these are Chaosium ones.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been wanting to try these too. So I don't know which one I'm going to get. I don't know which one. Probably, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. All of them, maybe.
And then at $50 instead, we give you the 40th anniversary Keeper rulebook.
Yep.
And the starter set and Keeper Tips and the poster and all the other stuff. The other cool thing is it doesn't matter what backer level you're on, you can add the physical poster of both the map and the cast photo. And we just announced this actually about 3 seconds before I started talking to you guys. The next announcement we did, we said, hey, we reached 30,000, so Becca's joining us. Plus, we're going to make the old Arkham graveyard map is now a physical thing as well.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so if you buy a plot, you can have a physical map of the Arkham graveyard and see your own name.
Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I kind of like that.
Great.
I think that's kind of cool.
Great. Yep. People
and
are
so
dying for that one.
Yeah, and it's at this level too. So you kind of had around the $30 range, those 4 different packages. So you also have like around this $50 range. So that was the $49 one. The $50 one is the Alumnus, which is the Keeper Rulebook, Call of Cthulhu starter set. You've got the Arkham official movie poster again, the Arkham poster map. But you also get an invitation to a special Zoom Q&A with the cast, crew, and creators.
Yep.
Which I think is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and by the way, every backer level, $9 and up, you also get your name in the credits of the show.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
That's great. And then at $99, we talked about this. You get the citizen pledge of the Arkham burial plot.
Yep.
It comes with all of that stuff, plus the basically the $49 level, backer level.
Yep.
So essentially you're tacking on $50 for your burial plot if you look at, there. So like, I mean, why not?
With an
like,
epitaph. With an epitaph.
Exactly.
And you get to pick a headstone as well.
Yep.
Amazing.
And I'm going to be talking to H.P. Lovecraft about that tomorrow, because H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society about that tomorrow, because I've been looking at old Sears catalogs, because you used to be able to, on a Sears catalog, order your headstone, by mail. I pity the poor postman with
the satchel.
Yeah.
Now the professor pledge is you get the Keeper rulebook, the Investigator handbook, Keeper screen pack, all PDF, the Arkham poster map PDF, but you get the poster map as a physical one here as well as invitation to the Zoom.
And I don't want to be repetitive, but I think Michael said that as an add-on, you can always add the physical poster.
It doesn't matter what you back at, you can always order the physical poster. And the price includes free, well, it's not free postage, you're paying for it, but you don't pay. So often in a Kickstarter, you pay your money, and then later on, when it's time to fulfill, you get hit with a postage charge. With this one, you pay that money, you pay the $199 or the $99, whatever it is. That's it, you're done. And it just gets sent to you. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So, at the risk of getting too repetitive, like there's higher levels of the Arkham burial plot that you can do, higher levels of the collector pledges. I think that the difference with these between the lower levels is that you get all, a lot of the stuff from the lower level, but you're starting to get the physical posters. You're starting to get the, the physical maps and things like that. And so, you've got a physical cast photo in one of them that you can get, right? And so, instead of just getting this all virtual, you're starting to see a lot of more physical stuff at the higher levels. So, and there's the old. This is one that I do want to pull out. It's the Arkham burial plot, the old Arkham family pledge. So if you would like to be buried with your family in Arkham Cemetery, it's a $209 pledge, limited to 66 backers. So. Yeah, so get it while it's hot, because if you want to be together forever in eternity and rise up together as zombies one day, then, this is the plot. This is the pledge for you. So we talked about NPCs coming on for $4.99. You can name an NPC, which I think is amazing.
And you get all the other rewards. Then there's the family crypt.
So you get the whole mausoleum.
Yeah, you get a whole
you can put like grandparents and stuff like that in there,
Yeah, you can even design it with non-Euclidean geometry. It's all
Yeah. That's great.
I do like this, the Cthulhu writing Q&A with the authors. I mean, again, Belinda and Darren did such an amazing job with it that, like, this would be one that I would just absolutely love to sit down and just pick their brains and go through that. So what an amazing opportunity for that. So there's only 3 backers that can do that at $850. So and I think this is the highest one.
You got to talk about the $4,000 one, because that is the one where you and 3 of your friends are invited to a 3-hour one-shot game of Call of Cthulhu run by the enigmatic Mark Meir himself.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is it's you and 3 friends. So if each of you pony up $1,000, you got this.
Hey,
and you'll have to do paper, rock, scissors to figure out who gets the posters. So, but let me go to the rewards, because I think that it shows some of the stuff that was unlocked already. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's actually where you go.
Yeah, so what you can do is at any backer level, you can add the physical rewards as well.
Yeah, cool. Yep. So this is a really great thing. One question that I had for you is, you talked about like that this is kind of expensive to make because it is like sitting the people down in one studio over a set period of time. How long do you think it's going to take to record 6 episodes? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it
No,
3 days
we're going to get it done in 3 to 4 days.
Okay. That's a long 3 or 4 days though.
Yep.
Yeah.
And but we're working with professional people.
Yeah.
And we'll have everything ready when it's ready to go. So, we'll get it done in that time. Then there's a lot of time afterwards when you have to do the editing of it.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we have a really good team to do that. So, the actual sitting down filming it is going to take 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
The whole production process of it is going to take considerably longer than that, a couple of months, when you add in all the stuff we have to do beforehand to get it ready and all the stuff afterwards to get it ready for release. And
now, yeah. So one of the things that I noticed in Bookshops was that you had that partnership with Roll20, where each of the players had an iPad with them or tablet in front of them, and they would use their tablet to roll, for their thing. And it kind of showed off a little bit of the strength of using Roll20 in a situation like that, where
it did, yeah.
You didn't have to think about it. You're like, okay, I'm going to roll for brawl, and you just kind of hit that brawl button, and it would roll it for you, and it would tell you if you got a hard success, extreme success, like all of those types of things. Are you planning to use that same system again in Graveyards?
So we are currently talking to Roll20 and a couple of other VTTs that expressed interest in being the VTT partner, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
For this, but at this stage we haven't finalized anything.
Okay. I will say that I think that approach was amazing. I know that Mark Muir, he would roll the dice. He had kind of a physical dice tray that he would roll sometimes, and he had sort of his laptop that he was with the script and stuff on it as well. But watching the players be able to use it there, I felt like helped the story move along more quickly. They didn't have to flip on their character sheets about what they were looking for.
Yep.
They didn't have to go around and then roll the dice and do the math in their head about like, wait, was that a hard success or extreme success or
yeah. And so that kind of just kept the narrative moving.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought it was a real strength.
I also thought it was interesting because it showed how you can actually just use Roll20 sitting around the table. You don't actually all have to be playing there online with each other.
Yeah, I actually thought about that in there. I'm like, wow, like here they are using the technology, right in front of them and together rather than on a Zoom call, and so I thought that was really interesting to see. To see how they incorporated that. So I thought it was I thought it was a bit revolutionary in terms of actual play, because normally what you see is essentially a Zoom call format with the dice being rolled on the screen, with different things, and or if it's an actual live cast or live play in a studio, they're rolling the dice in front of them and kind of referring to different sheets and things like that. So I just thought it really kept the story moving and didn't pull us out of the narrative that was being told in the moment, because like you would get into some serious situations that were going on in there and just be really emotionally invested about what's happening. And then, Mark Muir calls for a sanity roll. And the last thing I wanted to see do someone was like, wait, where's my sanity again? Like, what do I need to do? Right. Like they just did it. And they're like, I failed miserably. And you're like, oh, let's see what happens here. And so it just really kind of helped move it along. I thought it was great. So,
so I guess the Ennies judges thought it was something special as well and nominated it for Best Podcast.
Yep.
So, fingers crossed it might get the nod at the Ennies.
I hope so.
Which, there's a whole lot of deserving nominees, obviously, but we think that Bookshops of Arkham certainly did some some interesting things that perhaps had never been done before, or not in the same way. So I think it's worthy of recognition, and it's worthy of doing a new season to see if we can keep pushing the envelope in that way.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited for Graveyards of Arkham. My only regret is that it's not coming out sooner with this, and so we would love to tell all of our show listeners and you to have you all tell your friends to go check out the Kickstarter Graveyards of Arkham. Find a pledge that is right for you and right for what you want, and go ahead and back this, because if you haven't seen Bookshops of Arkham, watch it tonight. And then go and pledge it, because after the first episode, you're going to want to back this. So go check it out as soon as you can.
Yeah, that would be great. So I can just see there on the screen, we've got 11 days to go. So there you go.
Yep.
So, yep.
Absolutely. So
I'm not going to lie. I've been messing around with Kickstarter while you guys have been talking. So.
Excellent. Well, we'll pick out a nice crypt or plot for you, okay? So...
I'm tempted by all of it. I'm tempted.
That's right.
So, but that's consistent with the genre, the being pulled into those other universes. Is always very good.
Yep.
So, thank you so much, Michael O'Brien, for coming on the show and talking about Chaosium, talking about Graveyards of Arkham, talking about Bookshops of Arkham. Like we said, we're big fans, and we're very grateful that you took your time out of your busy schedule to sit down with us and help promote this thing that is very much a worthy cause. So we appreciate it very much.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right. And for all you listeners, of course, we will have a link to the Kickstarter in the description below, as well as to Patrick's Batman movie, which
go watch it. It's just amazing.
I'll have to go check that out. And of course, we have links to our Discord and Patreon. So if you are interested in supporting us, Patreon is the best way to do that. And if you're interested in connecting with us, Discord is the best way to do that. We've got a lot of folks in there. In fact, just the other day, we had someone asking about what's the best way to create social mechanisms in a role-playing game, right? And so we had a great discussion about that, as well as many other games that we have out there. So jump into Discord with us and join the Beyonders that are in there. And for the rest of you, thank you very much for listening, and we hope that all of you have a great night.